The Vancouver Sun Run is an iconic 10K elite and community oriented road race that takes place annually in downtown Vancouver, British Columbia. The Vancouver Sun Run is known for its lightning fast first kilometer and its speedy course overall. Although there are a couple of hills, one to take specific note of happens at 5 kilometers as you run up a steep hill to the Burrard Bridge deck. Otherwise, the Vancouver Sun Run is mostly flat and fast. The race is known for its massive crowds as the city celebrates the first full month of spring. The Vancouver Sun Run is one of several big race events that take place on the west coast over a short period of time, including a cohort, the TC 10K in Victoria on Vancouver Island. Christopher Kelsall here, managing editor of Athletics Illustrated magazine. I had the opportunity to speak with the Sun Run race director Tim Hopkins about the 2026 Vancouver Sun Run event. Here is our interview. Tim Hopkins, thank you for joining me today here with an Athletics Illustrated magazine interview. You're the race director for the Vancouver Sun Run, of course. Thanks again for joining to talk about this big event. So let me ask you, is the number one question you get, because we're post-COVID and because it is such a big event, how are the numbers doing, or how big is the race going to be this year? Do you get that all the
time? We do get it all the time. I think people think because back in 2007, 8, 9, we were over 50,000. People always think this event is a 50,000 plus person event. And we've had years where it had dipped down, but happy to say that in 2025, we were back over 50,000 for the first time in basically 12 years. So, huge to rebound like that since COVID. We came out of COVID with our lowest numbers in 35 years, and we've been building and building ever since. 2023, we had 20,000. 2024, we had 35. 2025, we had, sorry, off my numbers there, but 2025, we were at 51,000. So I missed the year in there where we were 45,000. But the numbers year over year have been incredible since COVID, just expanding, and really growing as running itself has grown. There's many large events in BC that have seen incredible post-COVID numbers, and we've really benefited from people, choosing a sport that's fairly inexpensive. Get yourself a pair of shorts and runners, and away you go. Do your training on your own time, and that's really what the Sun Run is all about. It's about just getting people out and really teaching them how to run, how to be active, and hopefully from there they choose to go on and do the event every year, and hopefully a bunch of other events around the province.
Yes, like the Vancouver Island Race Series or the Lower Mainland Series, which are chock-a-block full of community races, but they're just very well organized as well. But the Sun Run is the run. Is it the biggest in North America? It's certainly the biggest in Canada, isn't it?
I just looked at some stats last week from 2025 numbers, and if you take the top 5 U.S. races, including marathons, the Vancouver Sun Run would come in number 4 with finishers. So it's pretty incredible. We'd be the top 3 10Ks in North America for sure, and maybe even top 2 if you go by finishers. It would be Boulder to Boulder, that I think 44,000 finishers last year, and then us around 40,000 finishers. With Petrie coming in at 33 or 37,000 finishers. So pretty incredible for a 10K event. Little village of Vancouver.
Global village. And then of course it has a great name, Sun Run, because then you have visions of running in the sun and enjoying yourself. And we have the stunning mountains and ocean and downtown. And such a great start to that first kilometer being downhill.
Yeah, it's a fast start for sure. And really, it is kind of, for a lot of people, it's that sort of first big event of the year. It's when the weather's changing from the doldrums of late winter, early spring, and we're seeing people out and being active. And it's one of those sort of cornerstone events in Vancouver that everybody knows that summer is coming soon, right after the Sun Run.
Yeah, we have two seasons on the west coast of Canada, don't we? We have doldrums, and then we have sunshine.
Absolutely, and we get a little confused like the past few days with the sun and the fog coming and going.
Yes, the daffodils and the different flowers are blossoming, and it still could snow sometime in February. But
Yeah, I'm sure the skiers are definitely wishing that we get a big mid to late season dump. But I will say, when the weather's warm and people are out being active, it helps with registration with our event and many other events around the province. People are out running right now and training, and I would say most events are benefiting from this warm weather.
for sure. And then, so saying that, how is the Sun Run trending for this April 2026 coming up?
Current numbers, we're definitely ahead of where we were last year. We've been trending kind of in the 40 to 45% ahead, which is fantastic. Do I think that will equate to a 70,000 person run on April 19th? I don't, but I do see us continuing this trend of our numbers increasing. We could see numbers upwards of 54, 55,000 this year, which would be, sort of up there in the top 3 all-time Sun Run events.
It's interesting. My Irish grandfather lived here, moved here when he was younger, and I have a certificate. It looks brand new, and I took a photo of it recently. Maybe I'll share it with you offline, but it's from like the 1930s, and it's about this shape, and it says on it that Richard Butler Lowe Kelsall completed the Vancouver Sun Run 11-mile marathon. So I think in the early days, nowadays we laugh when people say 5K marathon or something like that. But yeah, so this event, this is the modern iteration, the very fast downtown 10K, but it's been around for a long time and under that banner as well, the Sun.
Yeah, 42 years. In fact, we've been lucky. We've had 2 great founders, and Doug and Diane Clement, along with Dr. Jack Taunton, who wanted to create an event that got people out, got people being active, while we have some amazing elite athletes that come out every year and compete for prize money. They make up less than 0.01% of our total registration. This event is about the masses. Event is about getting people active, and that could be learning to run, that could be walking 10K, but it really is getting them out and getting them on the start line and trying to, complete that goal of running their first 10K. For some, it's walking their first 10K, but it really is getting them out and getting them active.
Yeah, and then in respect to the Athletics Illustrated magazine readership, I think the mid-packers and the beginners and the walkers that really make the event vibrant and alive, and they help fund the event with all the registrations, they're well represented. You have masses coming out, so that's wonderful. What makes the news at our end of it, in a specialty magazine, is of course the front half. It's interesting though, as you know, watching a race of any size, doesn't matter how fast you are or how new you are to running, or on a walk run program perhaps, you still look at your watch at the end and click it. So you still want to do a little better than you did last time, or as well as you hope. And so there's I think a little fire in everybody's belly. Doesn't matter how fast or how modest they are as an athlete. But speaking to the Athletics Illustrated magazine audience, our readership looks at the front half of the field, or the audience is the front half of the field. I should say that, yeah. So maybe you're 45-minute and faster.
Yep.
That 15,000 or whatever the number is, and they want to know who's coming out. and what kind of course records might happen, and if there's any local Canadians who are fast who are racing, and international athletes. So do you have it's a bit early, I know, but do you have an idea of some of the athletes that may be racing this year?
At this point, I don't have a list yet of committed athletes. It is too early. A lot of these athletes are training down south, looking, especially the Canadian athletes. They're, down in Flagstaff and other areas where they're doing their altitude training. They're, in a place where they can run in maybe cool temperatures, but sunshine. So I would say that I don't have sort of the field, but what I can say is that the last 10 years, we've really concentrated on bringing in those top Canadian athletes, and that's been a focus for us. We feel we have a platform where we're getting more Olympians, past Olympians, future Olympians coming out and wanting to win the event. They really do love the Sun Run as one of the sort of cornerstone events. So we hear from many of the Canadians that either have won the event or have a potential to win the event, that it's a bucket list race for them. And for some, when they go out and they actually win the event, it is a stepping stone to that next level. Our prize money isn't huge money when it comes to international races, but it's something about winning a 50,000 person race in your hometown or your home country that motivates a lot of these young and upcoming athletes. And I will say we'll be, going in that direction again. We'll be looking at the top Canadian athletes and seeing who's available to run, who it fits into their schedule. But we always fill in. There's always, the odd athlete that's competed with a Canadian in track or road running that's heard about our event. And, we'll get some North American athletes, maybe not from Canada, from down south, and they'll want to come up because they've heard about this little 50,000 person event. And it's funny when you talk to these athletes and they show up and they look at the start line. And for anyone who has never been on the Vancouver Sun Run start line, and they're looking back and they're seeing 40,000 plus of their closest friends all wanting to run that same course, it's a pretty impressive moment if you hadn't seen the event before. There's not many events worldwide that have that impact of a start line like the Vancouver Sun Run. And that's one of the things we really pride ourselves in when we do have these international athletes that come and they see the masses and they see what this event is all about. And there's some that have never competed in an event like the Vancouver Sun Run before, and they go back and they talk about it. And we always get one or two word of mouth athletes that are coming from somewhere because someone's told them what a great event it is.
So you need to go after Kieran Lum. He's gone to Norway to work with Gert Ingebrigtsen, but he just ran that 27:50 Canadian 10K road record. Now, a road record won't count at the Sun Run, but you'll certainly get bragging rights. And with that big fast start, that big downhill fast start would be, is a tremendous opportunity there to nail down. So in Kieran's, maybe he'd like to get below 27:30 just to physically do it. And then, that's perhaps the next step in his racing 10,000 internationally. Or
Absolutely.
Justin Kent's running really well as well. And both of them are from the greater Vancouver area. A couple of great athletes right there.
Absolutely. Justin Kent's run the event before, I believe, a few times. So it's, it is one of those events where we do get those top Canadians. I would love to have, the best of the best, whether it's male or female. But what we really want is a good race. And we've had that the last few years where, the top athletes are legging it out. We haven't had a race in a number of years where someone's winning by 20 or 30 seconds. It's typically been a road race to that finish line, and it is exciting. We do get lots of spectators down at the finish line cheering on those runners and those top Canadians, especially when they're battling it out for their first ever big race victory.
Yeah, and then of course you have some mature runners who are running so well right now. Like obviously Cam Levins is international. 10,000 or 10K isn't his focus, but certainly if he's going to do a spring marathon, it could line up, and that would be tremendous. And or a Mohamed who had a DNF at World Cross Country. Maybe he wants redemption. A couple of mature guys there, and then you have the two great BC masters in the marathon, Melindy Elmore from Kelowna and Natasha Odak from North Van. Uh, anyway, the running on the West Coast is fast and furious, and the Sun Run, I think, is a great opportunity for these athletes to get in a good fast race with a good field. That's part of it,
Absolutely.
right? Fast course
Yeah.
and a fast field.
Absolutely. And, we've had some top masters athletes over the years have had some of the best races here. And that's one of the things with profiling the top Canadian athletes is that we do get competitive races for these masters athletes. We do get the top, local Pacific Northwest runners that are coming in. We always have a group out of the Pacific Northwest in Washington State that come up and try and, compete against the top Canadian masters. So it's always been a good field with a lot of athletes that know each other and like to compete against each other.
For sure, they're training together down in, say, Flagstaff or New Mexico or something like that, and they get talking, right? You go for a long run and you start talking about things like Bloomsday or Sun Run or BMO, Vancouver Half or the marathon. You have clinics coming up as well for a lot of the athletes that are a little behind that front field.
We do a bunch of clinics with Kintec footwear or shoe stores. They run all of our training clinics. We're also working with Runna now, and they'll do online training platforms through you. With you, available all through registration, so you can sign up for one of their programs. So there's a few different opportunities that can, give people the guidance they need to get to the next level. Like I said, this is not just about, a PB. This is athletes running their first event and learning how to do it without injury, the right nutrition. We have partners that are based on just trying to provide nutrition for athletes. And so there's something for everything at the Vancouver Sun Run.
So Tim, you're really busy with the Vancouver Sun Run. It's such a massive annual event, but you're also involved with the Halloween run, obviously in October in Burnaby, and Burnaby wants to become the Halloween capital of Canada. So tell me a little bit about that.
It's just a 5K fun run. Again, trying to get people out and being active. But obviously at Halloween, we want everybody in costume and dressing up. And it's all about kind of that theme. And, we're running, about 200 to 300 people every year. We're growing the event. It's not a Vancouver Sun Run, but it's another potential fun event to get people out and being active. We always have great prizes for best costumes and top finishers, but it's a real fun run.
Do you have competitions for costumes or anything in the Sun Run?
We have in the past. We've had some amazing costumes over the years. We've always had one or two people that go above and beyond, and typically the Vancouver Sun photographers will be out there, and they always trying to catch one of those great costumes and get them in the paper and get the recognition that people deserve for being creative and having some fun.
That's great. And then, so the Sun Run was purchased not too long ago, and as you mentioned, Jack Taunton and the Clements were involved with starting it up years ago. I've been on the start line several times as a runner, as a photographer, and videographer, and it was always great. Rest in peace. But it was always great to see Jack standing there in front of the elites, taking in the atmosphere, even though he couldn't run, and see the Clements that are still involved in I guess they're in their 90s now. So. Thank you to them, of course, and everything they've done for running in BC and especially Vancouver. Also the Harry Jerome indoor and outdoor meet. But tell me about the new ownership. Who are they, and what are they all about?
So the event was purchased by a company called Motive Running North America. They've got a number of West Coast running events, mostly based in California. We do have a St. Patrick's Day run in Portland as well. But we also have some triathlons, and we do a challenge series event in in Quebec as well. So it's an expanding company. The great thing is that they've allowed us to operate on our own and continue down the path of trying to get people out and be active. They've really embraced the goals that Jack, Doug, and Diane sort of set out. It's more about participation and really the athletes than it is about bottom line. And it's really refreshing to have an organization that can provide guidance, advice, but as well let us do what we've done so well for 42 years, and that's produce a great world-class event in Vancouver.
That's great. And you mentioned St. Patrick's Day. There's also a local St. Patrick's Day race in Stanley Park. Yeah, I'm sure you're well aware. You're nodding your head. So Steve McTina and his wife Karen, they do such a great job with that race. And also, it's in the near the end of March, I think.
Yeah,
it's always close to St. Patrick's Day, and they have the green beer, and sometimes they have a pretty cool hot rod, like a Ghibli or something, to start, and those things have a great sound, like the engine purrs. So it's a neat atmosphere, and it's all about getting as many people under certain benchmarks. So while a 25-minute 5K or maybe one of the masses, they want to do it a little better, typically, and so as they do, they start looking at races like the St. Patrick's Day 5K. But that's an excellent race to get some sub elites and grow the front end of the Sun Run a little bit too. Do you participate in that event in any way or race it?
I don't race it. It's funny how you get involved in organizing, especially these larger races. And I was thinking about it before we got on this call. Is the last organized real run that I did, and I would say timed with chip time, was the BMO half marathon in 2013. While
13 years ago.
Yeah, while I do run recreational on a regular basis, I wouldn't say I'm much of a runner anymore. I go out to sometimes some of our group runs and things like that, and I struggle my way along as a guy in his, let's call late 50s, mid 50s. But I definitely enjoyed my time when I was doing a ton of road racing. And now what I really enjoy is being on the start line or the finish line of these world-class events and watching people have the experience that I enjoyed so much when I started my running career.
The Vancouver BMO marathon there. The 2013, were you still going over Burrard Bridge 3 times during that race?
The half, no.
Oh, it was okay. You did the half.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I haven't done the full since 1998, and that was
that was 3 passes because I was there for that year, I think.
Yeah.
The marathon. Yeah, I remember going over the 3rd time near the end, coming out of kits and just I'm glad it's a fast course now, or in comparison, a fast course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, it's great that the Sun Run is doing so well again, and you have another big year for 2026. Who knows where you're going to be at, but look forward to being there on the start line with cameras and covering the event. And
we'll definitely check in closer to the event and be able to give you kind of that start line list of some of the top athletes that we have coming, and hopefully there'll be a surprise or two, and we'll have another great race.
Yeah, and we'll still take the numbers, mass numbers, and plunk them into the article. So if you have trending towards 55, that's pretty cool. So we'll talk about that as well. But certainly, the front end of the field does garner news when they do accomplish things. So that gets people interested because, as we discussed, the 45-minute or the 60-minute or the 70-minute 10K wants to run a little faster too.
Absolutely. Once you get that sort of hook in you, people like to get that PB every year.
It's so much fun to do it, right? So much fun to go out and race and just do a little better than you expected, or it shows the training from Kintec or whoever is working, and that's fun. Makes you want to race all year.
Absolutely.
Well, good luck with the event. We'll check in closer to. Thank you for this. Greatly appreciate your time today, Tim.
Glad to be here and always happy to talk about the Vancouver Sun Run.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
It appears that the global running boom is indeed on, and the Vancouver Sun Run is feeling the full force of it for the third year in a row, with over 50,000 registrations expected for the second year in a row. Be sure to register by February 6th to avoid the increase in price slated for February 7th.